Howdy, everybody. Rolling in, so bear with me. Navigate the technical challenges of our day. Here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to get the presentation. Okay, let me give it just a couple more minutes because people are still arriving. Sorry to force those of you who could be outside inside on such a lovely day. Okay, let me get started here to be mindful and respectful of everybody's time. Welcome to the 2026 Unmistakable Events Grant Program Guidelines Overview. My name is Porter Arneal and I work for Parks, Recreation, and Culture, and I oversee this grant program. This is the first of two virtual presentation sessions. The next session is scheduled for Friday, October 24th at 2 p.m. Both sessions will be uploaded to the city's YouTube page for reference and for those who may not be able to attend at the scheduled times. Now I am going to share my screen. All right. As part of the 2026 budget, the City Commission approved $150,000 for the Unmistakable Events Grant Program to encourage, promote, and strengthen events that benefit the Lawrence community and/or enhance the visitor experience in Lawrence. And of course, World Cup is coming to Kansas City and Lawrence in 2026. So those events that are scheduled between June 11 and July 19, 2026 may want to consider adding elements related to World Cup and our international visitors. Events in that time range should include information about additional World Cup elements in their grant application. This online presentation will take about 15 to 20 minutes. I'll cover everything that's included in the grant guidelines, so please wait until the end to ask questions, unless you have a specific question related to any topic I'm covering. There will be time for Q&A at the end. This slide includes an outline of the city's strategic plan. The 5 outcomes and 6 commitments are assigned to and overseen by 11 city departments. As you can see, Parks, Recreation, and Culture is responsible for the unmistakable identity, which states, Lawrence is a welcoming community, synonymous with arts, diverse culture, fun, and a quintessential downtown. City parks and community events contribute to the vibrancy experienced by all people in Lawrence. Oops, let me admit more people. We use 14 key progress indicators, or KPIs, to track our progress toward our unmistakable identity. The KPIs highlighted in green on this slide relate specifically to arts, cultural opportunities, equity, sustainability, and events in Lawrence. Our goal is to continue advancing these things through the events that receive grant funds. The funds for this grant program are allocated from the Transient Guest Tax Fund. Transient guest tax in Lawrence was recently raised from 6% to 8% by the City Commission. It is a tax levied on the rental of rooms, lodging, or other sleeping accommodations within the city. This tax applies to establishments offering more than 2 bedrooms for guest accommodation and is applicable to short-term stays of 28 consecutive days or less. The revenue generated from the TGT is allocated to support tourism-related activities and events that enhance Lawrence's cultural and economic landscape. This program provides financial assistance to events that demonstrate a measurable economic benefit, such as boosting the cultural or travel tourism economy and generating additional sales tax revenue. Additionally, it aims to enhance Lawrence's unique identity and reputation for tourist activities, attracting regional visitors. Overall, the transient guest tax in Lawrence and other cities serves as an important tool for promoting tourism and supporting events that contribute to the city's cultural vibrancy and economic growth. The Unmistakable Events Grant Program is administered through the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Department as part of the Unmistakable Identity Outcome Area. Grant application review will be conducted with the assistance of a diverse ad hoc volunteer committee comprising members from the Cultural Arts Commission and Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, as well as individuals with backgrounds in arts and culture, tourism, and economic development, as well as events. This committee will review applications and make recommendations to the City Commission, which has final approval of grant funds. The Parks, Recreation, and Culture Unmistakable Events Grant Program is a competitive funding opportunity for Lawrence-based events that are open to the public. To be eligible, events should meet most of the following goals. Economic impact. Demonstrate a measurable economic benefit by enhancing the travel tourism economy, including the generation of additional transient guest tax and sales tax revenue. Strengthening Lawrence's unmistakable identity. Enhance Lawrence's unmistakable identity as a welcoming community known for vibrant arts, culture, educational, and recreational events. Events should showcase Lawrence's reputation as an unmistakable hub for regional visitors and contribute to the community's diverse and inclusive atmosphere. Community engagement and cultural impact. Foster community engagement with a focus on inclusivity by hosting events that resonate with diverse audiences, including Black, Indigenous, and people of color, or BIPOC residents. Events should strive to increase the percentage of residents who feel their culture is celebrated in the community. Sustainability and environmental stewardship. Promote events and programs that celebrate, enhance, and increase awareness about environmental sustainability, contributing to Lawrence's long-term environmental goals. And of course, there's World Cup 2026. Events taking place between June 11 and July 19, 2026 are encouraged to incorporate World Cup-related elements. However, to ensure fairness for all 2026 events, no additional points will be awarded beyond the standard merit scores by the review panel. Guidelines. A scoring matrix aligned with the goals listed above will be used to evaluate applications. Eligibility. State-registered for-profit and not-for-profit businesses may submit one grant request for events held throughout the year in Lawrence, Kansas. Grants start at $600 and are limited to $15,000 per event. Local focus. Only events that are held within the city limits are eligible for grant funds. Events should strive to become self-sustaining over time, although the city retains the discretion to fund events that align with the grant program goals. Focus on marketing and promotion. Funding can be used for overall event support with a particular emphasis on marketing and promotional efforts. This could include advertising such as print, social media, digital, radio, television, or printing like flyers, posters, and banners, video production, email marketing, web design, and graphic design services. Impact on tourism. Events expected to generate overnight stays, especially during non-peak times, which is December through March, and weekdays, Monday through Thursday night, are particularly desirable. Benefit scoring will reflect the potential for generating transient guest tax during off-peak periods. Guidelines continued. In-kind and cash support. Applications should note the value of in-kind services or cash support from other organizations with required letters of commitment, including as confirmation. Post-event reporting. Recipients of grant funds must sign an agreement with the city, including a requirement to submit post-event reports within 1 month of the event. Reports must include a summary, participant data, and details on the use of city funding. Failure to submit a report may disqualify the organization from future funding opportunities. And recognition. Events receiving funding must include the City of Lawrence and the Unmistakably Lawrence logos on sponsorship materials and acknowledge the city's support. City logos can be obtained from lawrenceks.org. Actually, it's lawrenceks.gov now /identity. And the Unmistakable Lawrence logos can be obtained by contacting Explore Lawrence. A scoring matrix aligned with the program goals will be used to evaluate the applications. And this is an example of that scoring matrix that the reviewers will be filling out. And all this will be posted on the website as well. Equity for the city's 2 grant programs. The city administers 2 annual grant programs, which are both funded by transient guest tax funds. These are the Unmistakable Events Grant Program, which is this program that supports public events, and the Cultural Arts Commission's Community Arts Grant Program, which is dedicated to arts and culture projects, programs, and initiatives. To increase grant equitability, each applying agency can only receive 1 grant. This can be either from the Unmistakable Events Grant Program or the Community Arts Grant Program, but not both. However, if 2 separate nonprofits are collaborating on the same event, each organization may apply for its own grant. For example, if the XYZ event receives an Unmistakable Events Grant, the ABC Arts Program, which is a separate nonprofit partnering on the same event, could still receive support through the Community Arts Grant Program. This approach encourages collaboration among local event organizers and arts agencies, creating more opportunities for everyone. Plus, the application timelines for these grant programs are organized so that applicants will know if they will receive an Unmistakable Events Grant before the deadline for the Community Arts Grant Program. This makes it easier to plan and helps provide a fair chance to receive funding. Important things to remember. The program will have 1 funding cycle each calendar year, with applications being accepted in the fall of the year preceding the funding year. A volunteer committee will review the applications and make recommendations for funding to the City Commission for final approval. The value of financial support or services provided by other organizations should be included in the application and noted as in-kind support. If cash or in-kind support has been received for the event, the application must include a letter of commitment as confirmation. Any entity receiving Unmistakable Identity Grant Program (TGT) funds for an event must be registered in a good standing with the State of Kansas Secretary of State and will be required to sign an agreement with the city, which will require post-event reporting, including a summary of the event, data captured from the event, including participant projections and use of city funding in the overall budget. Post-event reporting is due to the City of Lawrence within 1 month of the event or program. If an event report is not filed, future funding opportunities through this program may not be allowed. Any entity receiving Unmistakable Identity Grant funding will be required to include the City of Lawrence and the Unmistakably Lawrence logos on sponsorship program materials and credit the city for sponsorship where appropriate. We have a logo available at lawrenceks.gov /identity, and you can reach out to Explore Lawrence for their logo. After the applications are received by the deadline, the committee will begin their review process. Applications will be posted on the city's website. The meetings of the committee are open to the public. And this is the timeline. So October 3 through November 10 is the application period for next year's event grants. The application deadline, the online application is open until 11 p.m. on November 10th. And then, of course, we're doing these presentations. And the ad hoc committee will meet on Friday, November 14th, and then we'll take their recommendations to the city commission on Tuesday, December 2nd. And that is everything I have for my presentation. Like I said, I'm going to post this on the website. And frankly, this is just basically reiterating everything that's listed in the guidelines, which is posted on the webpage now. So I'm going to stop my share. And I will happily answer anybody's questions. Mr. Renner.
Hello, Porter. So my question is about the community arts grant, although this is about the Unmistakable Lawrence. The Busker Festival would like to create ongoing events during the month of June and July to help celebrate the World Cup and entertain the crowds here. This will be separate events from our actual festival that we'll be applying for at the TGT. Can we apply for the community arts grant for these separate events, even though we're the same organization?
No.
No.
So you'd be better off somehow partnering or working through another organization to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks for the question.
Good to know.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Let me see if I can see everybody here. There we go. If you have questions, please raise your hand. Happy to answer questions. Or actually just chime in. There we go. Gene.
Hi, Porter. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. There's a requirement that you want letters of commitment from our other commitments from funding and payment in kind. I guess we made the application last year after our event, after the Thanksgiving Day run. We're just now asking our sponsors to submit their commitments right now. So I find it a little intimidating to ask them again right now. What can you commit for 2026? Do you need something in writing from them? Okay, I've got a list of how much they're donating, they have donated this year.
Keep in mind, this is only for what commitments you would be applying to that are applicable to the grant that you're requesting. So in other words, you don't have to share everybody that's supporting you per se, but if you have a certain group, say, supporting marketing efforts, then we would need to see, if you're adding them in your grant application, does that make sense? Then we would need to see evidence that they are actually supporting you financially.
Okay, yeah, we're not requiring, our contributions are in general. We're not earmarking anything for advertising.
Okay, yeah, then it would be a matter of which element do you want to add to your application? And in that case, yes, it would be whoever's funding you that is applicable to your grant application. Okay. I'm saying this, Gene, in part because I know you're not receiving a huge amount of money in the scheme of things. So, and I don't know what your overall event cost is. So you can kind of weigh that accordingly in as much as you can. But I would say that anything that would apply to what you're seeking funding for, you would need to have that support letter.
Okay, I think the only thing might be River Rat Printing donates a certain percentage for our shirts or hoodies that we're giving out. So that's marketing.
Yep. Absolutely. That's spot on. That's an in-kind donation.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like that. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that benefits you. And frankly, it also highlights, that they're helping with your event. So it shouldn't be too hard to ask for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Good question. Anybody else? Well, if questions arise, please feel free to email me or call me. I'm always happy to answer questions. Everything is available on the website, so all the information that I just shared is there as well. So unless I see anybody pop on with a burning question, I will say adieu and encourage you to go outside and enjoy the day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Porter.